Shared information bias is our tendency to focus on information that everyone has access to, neglecting equally crucial information known only to a few of the group. The shared information bias often comes from confirmation bias, a bias I introduced in my previous video. During group discussions, we are naturally inclined to support each other's viewpoints and ignore conflicting evidence. Confirmation bias is associated with the brain's reward system. When someone agrees with us, it activates the same dopamine pathways that are linked to pleasurable experiences, reinforcing our pre-existing beliefs. Our brains prefer processing familiar and shared information, likely because it demands fewer cognitive resources. Therefore, instead of actively pulling together each group member's unique information to make a more informed decision, group members often default to discussing shared information. When a group fails to discuss the information that is most useful to a decision, the quality of group decisions suffers. Consider a team that needs to choose between two candidates, candidate A and candidate B. The team has 3 members, Abby, Bill, and Chris. All 3 members have access to shared information favoring candidate B, referred to as B1, B2, and B3. Simultaneously, each member holds unique information about candidate A. Abby knows about A2. Bill is aware of A3. Chris has details about A4. In an ideal decision-making scenario, the group would share all 7 pieces of information, 4 in favor of candidate A and 3 in favor of candidate B. If this were to happen, candidate A would clearly be the best choice. However, research shows that only 18% of the people would actually choose candidate A. This decision error occurs because the unique information about candidate A, A2, A3, and A4 was not shared or discussed in the group, even though the information was accessible to the group. This type of information asymmetry is detrimental to decision quality. As a leader, you can take 5 steps to counteract shared information bias and improve the decision-making process in your team. First, set objectives for the discussion. As a leader, you should clarify that the group discussion will proceed until all relevant information has been reviewed and evaluated. This sets the stage for comprehensive information sharing and helps combat the brain's natural inclination to take mental shortcuts. Second, incorporate input from low-status members. Social status in a group context is defined by the level of prestige, respect, and esteem one holds in the eyes of others. Lower status people tend to have elevated levels of cortisol, the stress hormone which can inhibit the cognitive functions necessary for active participation. Encouraging low-status team members to share their unique perspectives can enrich the discussion. Third, equalize the platform. Higher status group members tend to be more vocal, and their opinions tend to dominate discussions. But their information is not necessarily more accurate or valuable. The confidence displayed by high-status individuals can be linked to higher levels of testosterone, which positively influence dominance and assertiveness. When one voice dominates the group discussion, the chances of shared information bias are significantly higher. For example, allowing a vocal member to speak 10 times while less vocal members speak only once amplifies the shared decision-making bias. By ensuring that each member has an equal number of speaking turns, leaders can facilitate more balanced sharing of information and mitigate the shared information bias. Fourth, delay settling on alternatives. Delay reviewing leaders' preferences or settling on alternatives until all unique pieces of information are presented. This creates an open space where all information, including the ones it's not universally known, has the opportunity to emerge. Unbiased group discussions are more likely when people do not yet know what preferences others have. Fifth, encourage repeated discussion of unique information. After a unique and key pieces of information has been introduced, leaders should ensure that it is discussed multiple times. Repeated discussion tends to lend more credibility to that information, making it more likely to influence the group's final decision. This is consistent with another mental shortcut I've introduced in my previous video, availability heuristic, which suggests that information discussed more frequently is perceived as more valid. Repeated exposure to information increases its neural representation, thereby making it easier to access and consider in decision-making. Remember, the most effective leaders are not just those who make decisions, but those who facilitate better decision-making process in their teams. The leaders who can sift through the noise to find the truly valuable pieces of information are the ones who will ultimately succeed. So the next time you find yourself in a group discussion, be the leader who questions, listens, and demands the whole picture before arriving at a decision. It's not just about making better decisions individually, it's about creating an environment where your team members make better decisions collectively. Start observing your decision-making processes and those of others around you. See if you can spot instances of shared information bias. Please feel free to share your comments below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.